Hi, third graders. This week we're continuing with our Achieve articles. We're going to be looking over week 2, which is day 6 through day 10. I'm going to be reading over the questions with you, looking at vocabulary, and giving you tips and tricks for how to answer those questions. Don't forget that whichever day you're working on, you can go to this video and you can rewind to where you are. You can pause and play and listen to me read you the questions. So let's look at our first one. The early-late debate. So let's look at our poll. Some people want later start times for middle schools and high schools. These people want start times pushed back until 8 a.m. or later. What do you think? Now, I know we're not in middle school and high school, but we can relate that sometimes we wish that school started later and we didn't have to wake up so early and rush out the door. So wouldn't it be nice if Arlington started later? What do you think? Do you agree or disagree that schools should start later? The next step is to read the article. I want you to remember that it's important to underline key details and write notes along the side so that you can track what you're reading and understanding. And when you read a question, you can say, oh yeah, I underlined it. Let me go find that. So let's look at our vocabulary. The first one is academic, of or relating to schools and education. I know you know what academic means. If you're reading an academic book, it means that you're learning from it. It might be a textbook. But if you're reading a fictional story just for fun, in your own time, it's more entertaining and less academic. The next question is, or the next word is research. Careful study that is done to find and report new knowledge about something. So if you're going to research about a topic you're not sure about or something that you want to learn more information about, say I wanted to learn more about robots and how they're made and how they work, I could research and I could Google information or Google an article about it. All right, let's start our questions with step 3. This is a diagram for cause and effect. It says, based on the article, which best replaces the question mark in the diagram below? There are 2 boxes. The box on the left is labeled cause, and it has a question mark in it. There is an arrow pointing to a box on the right. The box on the right is labeled effect, and it says, many high schools start very early. So if the effect is that high schools are starting early, there must be a reason why they are starting early. So the cause is going to be the reason why that high schools are starting early. So which one of these is that reason? Question number 2. What is this article mainly about? What's the main idea or the summary? It's not going to be a specific detail. So which one of these talks about the whole article? Question 3. Which one of these is an opinion? Don't forget, an opinion is a feeling or an emotion. So don't get tricked. One of these might be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an opinion. So which one is an opinion? Number 4. Which is the closest synonym for the word research? A synonym is a word that is the same meaning. So they didn't provide a sentence for us. So an example I have for you is to make your own sentence. Let's use the same robot example. I said, let's begin a research project about robot facts. So remember our strategy. We want to plug in those words to see if it means the same as research and if it makes sense. So let's begin an examination project about robot facts, a tradition project about robot facts, a collection project about robot facts, or a preparation project about robot facts. Now, 2 of these sound like they might be pretty close, but which one is the closest? Number 5. The article says all of the following except, so 3 of these are going to be true and 1 of them is not going to be included at all. So don't forget that you want to use your maybe strategy and your X strategy. So was this in the article? Ooh, yes. So I would say maybe. Was this in the article? No. So I'm going to put X. The next section says, the article states this. And the question is, the author's purpose for writing this passage was to... So why did the author write this passage? Over here I gave us a clue for author's purpose. The reason the author wrote the article. So why is it that this right here is helpful in our understanding? Question 7. The article states this. Which is the closest synonym for the word tough as it is used above? So here they gave us the sentence. So all you have to do is our strategy of plugging in each word to see if it makes sense. Question 8. Which passage from the article best supports the idea that it's too soon to tell whether a later school start will be better for students? So one of these answers supports that we're not really sure if it's a good idea or not. And step 4, after reading, did you change your mind? Do you think that we should keep school the time that it is? Why or why not? And question 5, do you think middle schools and high schools should start later in the day? Why or why not? Use facts and details from the article to back up your answer. So I want to remind you that when you're using facts and details from an article, you want to make sure you're not copying word for word because that's not coming from your own opinion. It's only the author's opinion. So make sure that you are paraphrasing, which means that you're summarizing what the author said instead of writing exactly what they said. Okay, let's look at our second article. Our second article is called Give Me Some More. So before we read, many people like to make a dessert called s'mores. The gooey treats are made with marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers. What do you think of this well-known saying? S'mores always leave you begging for some more. So that's why they're called s'mores, is because usually after you eat one, you want another one. So do you agree? Do you usually want a second s'more after you eat it? Or do you not like s'mores? Are they too sweet for you? Or are they too sticky and messy? What's your opinion? Now, before you read the article, I want to remind you what a sequence is. You can see this sequence here that they're writing steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of how to make a s'more and how to eat it. So let's look at our vocabulary. The first one is devour. Devour is to eat quickly and with greed. So here is our kid devouring French fries. He is eating it so quickly that no one else can have any. Here is indulge, to allow yourself or someone else to do something enjoyable. So this girl is allowing herself to eat this treat and she's doing it slowly and enjoying each bite. The next word is luxury, something that costs a lot and is nice to have, but is not really needed. So my car doesn't look like this. I don't really need a car like this, but could it be something I want because it's really cool? Yeah, so that's what a luxury is. You don't need it, but you might want it. Okay, and last is a manual, a small book that gives instructions or helpful information about something. Here's a picture of a manual for how to fix home appliances. Okay, let's take a look at our questions. Here's a cause and effect diagram as well. So figure out which one of these supports the cause that would make this happen. Question 2. Suppose you were writing a summary of the article. Which of these would be most important to put in the summary? So one of these is going to be a very important detail to the whole entire story. You can't read this article without this detail. Question 3. Which 2 words, so each one has 2 words, and they need to be antonyms. Antonyms are opposites. It says only some of these words are used in the article. So think about how these words can be used and if they are opposites from each other. Question 4. The article says all of the following except. So some of these are going to be included in the article. So go through and find which ones are in the article. One of them is not going to be included. And it looks like answer choice D is on the next page. So let's see. Yep, there it is. Okay, question 5. The article states this. The author's purpose for writing this passage was... So why did they include this right here, and why is it helpful for us to understand? Question 6. The article states this. Which would be the closest synonym for the word construct as it is used above? So here's the word construct. Plug in your answers to see what makes sense. And question 7. Which passage from the article best supports the idea that chocolate was not first used in desserts? So one of these supports that chocolate was used for something different before it was used for desserts. Question 8. The reader can tell from the article that, so after we read, what do we now know? And step 4, did we change our minds? After reading, did it give some good reasons why people would want another some more after they eat their first one? And step 5, you're going to write a summary of today's article. And I gave you here the same graphic organizer that we used last week. Your introduction is going to be stating the main idea. We're not going to be talking about cookies, we're talking about s'mores. So you can say, some people say that s'mores always leave you begging for some more. That's a really good introduction sentence. And then you're going to say why each of these details are going to support your main idea sentence. And then in conclusion, you're going to have an ending sentence that wraps up the whole writing. And that could be your opinion if you agree or disagree. Let's take a look at our next article for day 8. It's called Global Game Fame. What is our poll? In 2019, several video games were chosen for the World Video Game Hall of Fame. One game came out in 1976. 2 others came out in the 1990s. What do you think? So even though they were chosen in 2019, they were created a long time ago. So older video games must be more fun to play. Do you agree or disagree? Do you have a favorite video right now that was created a long time ago? Or do you have one that just came out last year that you love to play? What's your opinion? So step 2 is going to be all about this Hall of Fame, and I want to show you a picture of a Hall of Fame. A Hall of Fame can be for a lot of different topics. A lot of times Hall of Fames have to do with sports, and it's a frame that has each thing that goes up as an influential memory of each year for the Hall of Fame. So let's take a look at our vocabulary. The first word is influential, so it made an impact. Here's someone who made an impact because he created the phone. This is Alexander Graham Bell, and he was influential because we use telephones every day, don't we? The next word is nominate, to suggest someone or something for an award or honor. A lot of times we might vote for something, and that's the same thing as nominating. The next word is plumber. Someone who works on pipes, bathtubs, sinks, toilets, and other things that carry water. And the last one is virtual. It's on the computer, but appearing to be real life. So in your video games, there's a lot of characters who look and have all the same actions as a real person, but we know that they're just virtual people. So let's take a look at our questions. The first one is a main idea diagram. It looks like this part is blank, so we need to figure out what the main idea is that is supported by these details. So what do these details show? So here are our options. So read through these details and see if it's talking about these options, A, B, C, or D, as what they are supporting. Question 2. Which is the closest synonym for nominate as it is used in the article? So you can go back and you can find the word nominate, or you can create your own sentence. So nominating is like voting. So I nominate this person for line leader. So if you want this person to be line leader, then you're going to nominate them. And that's what that word means. So which one of these is a synonym for that? And the last one on this page is question 3. Which of these is an opinion? So 3 of them are going to be facts. One of them is going to be an emotion or an opinion. Question 4. Think about the article. In what way are Microsoft Solitaire and Super Mario Kart different? So they are going to be a contrast. How are they opposites? So read through each one and make sure you use your strategy of X and maybes. The article states this. Which would be the closest synonym for the word houses as it is used above? Now we know the word house, but it is used differently here. It houses a collection of the world's most awesome and influential video games. So what does the word houses mean? Plug in each one of these options to see which makes sense. Question 6. The article states this. Why did the author include this passage? So the author's purpose is the reason why the author wrote it. So why is this helpful to be included, and why is it important for our learning? And the last question, question 7. Which passage from the article best supports the idea that winning games should have had a big effect on the gaming industry? So a big effect means that it had a major impact or influence. So which one of these shows that winning games should have had a big effect on the gaming industry? Question number 8. Based on the article, which is most likely to happen? So after reading, we learned a lot. So what's going to happen after what we learned from the article? Step 4, after reading poll. Did our opinion change? Could older video games be more fun to play than current ones? What do you think? And step 5, our thought question. Write a story about visiting the World Video Game Hall of Fame. Which video game did you most want to see and why? Use describing words from the article in your answer. So this is a story, so you can have characters in this story. So I gave you some suggestions. Who did you go with? When did you go? Which video game was it that you wanted to see? Why? Is it your favorite? And then you can also use describing words from the article that you saw in synonyms and antonyms from your questions. All right, let's take a look at our next article. Our next article is called Good, Bad, or Ugly. Let's look at our poll. Before reading poll, many fruits and veggies are wasted because they don't look perfect. Now, some companies are selling ugly fruits and veggies. They ship them to people's homes. What do you think? All ugly produce should be given away to people in need. Do you agree or disagree? Should we be able to buy just the good-looking fruits and veggies, or should we be able to buy any kind of looking veggies? Do they still taste the same? What do you think? Or should we just give them all away instead of having them bought in the store? So when you're reading the article, make sure that you're underlining important details that will help you understand. This is a cool picture that shows what the text means. Here is a carrot that has a little deformity. So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to put it in the grocery store and see if someone buys it? What's a good option for that? So let's look at our vocabulary. The first one is compete. So I have a picture of two companies competing because it says to go against other companies in trying to get customers. I know a lot of you might have noticed that Walgreens is always across the street or often across the street from CVS. Walgreens and CVS are very similar, but they compete for people's business. So a lot of times they're right across the street from each other. And these two companies are playing tug of war for the same type of customers and clients. Okay, let's look at our next picture. Discount. Oh, you guys know what discount means. It's so helpful when there's a discount, a price that is lower than usual. Okay, a food bank. Here's a food bank. You can see it's a place that gives food to hungry people. So it's a free place to get food. Industry, a type of trade or business. So here's a business and they're having a business meeting and talking about what they need to do for the week or a plan for their business. Nutrient, what a living thing needs to live, such as water and minerals. So here's a chart that talks about all the nutrients that are in our foods, minerals and proteins and vitamins. That's why it's so important to have a healthy and balanced diet so you get all the things that you need to live a healthy life. And reject. Here's someone who's rejecting something that's being offered to them. That means that they don't want it. Let's take a look at our questions. Move this over. There we go. Step 3. Looks like we have another cause and effect chart, but look over here. This time the effect is blank. Based on the article, which best fits in the empty box? So here's the cause, but what's going to happen because of the cause? Question 2. Suppose you were writing a summary of the article. Which of these would be most important to put in the summary? So one of these is a very important detail that the story or the article wouldn't make sense without. Question 3. Which of these is a fact? So this time we're not looking for opinions. We want to know which one of these is true, and we don't want to select one that's an opinion that talks about emotions. Question 4. Which is the closest synonym for the word discount as it is used in the article? So you can go back in the article and find the word discount, or you can create your own sentence and plug in these words to see if it makes sense. Question 5. The author probably wrote this article in order to... So what was the author's purpose? Why did they write it for us? Question 6. Which passage from the article best supports the opinion that ugly produce companies are only thinking about making money for themselves? So one of these answer choices says that they're only producing the ugly produce and selling it so that they can make money for themselves. And question 7. The article states this. But would this be what would be the closest synonym for the word blossomed as it is used above? So here we have the word blossomed. Use our strategy, plug those answers in. Question 8. Based on the article, which is most likely to happen? So now that we've learned all these things about ugly produce, what's most likely to happen out of these 4 choices? And step 4, did we change our opinion? Are all ugly produce, should it be given away to people in need, or should it be sold? And step 5. Are ugly produce companies causing more harm than good? Summarize both sides of the argument, for and against ugly produce companies. Which side do you agree with and why? Use facts and details from the article. So here I give you some advice of things you can say. You can say, I believe that. Some people think that. Others say that. And which do you agree with? Our next video is called Catherine the Great. Let's take a look at our poll. One woman did math for NASA. She started in the 1950s. Back then, many African American women were told they could not have high-level jobs. What do you think? If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. Do you agree or disagree? Do you agree that any woman could have a high-level job? That's what this article is about. So let's look at some vocabulary. The first one is autobiography. An autobiography is the story of someone's life written by that person. So if I was writing about my life, this would be an example of the title, The Story of My Life, and I'm writing it. But if someone is writing about my life, that's not me, it's just a biography. So if someone else was writing it, it's a biography. But if you're writing your own story, it's an autobiography. The next word is retire. To leave a job at the end of a career. So here's a couple who's at the beach instead of at work. And trajectory, the path of an object through space. So here's the trajectory of someone's reading ability. So their ability is getting better and better, and the trajectory gets higher and higher as they improve. All right, let's take a look at our questions. Here is a cause and effect with the cause as the blank space. So which one of these is a good cause for this effect? She was hired as a human computer for NASA. Question 2. What's the main idea of the article? What's the best description of the whole article, not just one part? So which one of these talks about the whole thing? Question 3. Which of these had not yet happened when the article was written? Now listen closely to this question because it's not asking for when events happened in the story. It's talking about when they happened in history. So it doesn't ask where in the article the events appear. Look back at the dates or look at the years to figure out what happened before the article was written. Question 4. Which two words are the closest antonyms? So two of these are opposite. Which ones are opposites? Question 5. Suppose Kyla wants to find out about space missions. She would find most information where? Where would she find it? In an article, a book, a dictionary, or a picture? Question 6. The reader can tell from the article that... So after we've read the article, what do we understand? What can we tell? Question 7. Which passage from the article best supports the idea that Katherine Johnson's work at NASA was more important than most astronauts likely knew at the time? So which one of these shows that her work was so important that people didn't even realize it at the time? Question 8. The article says this. Which would be the closest antonym for the word correct? Ooh, so this time we need to think of the opposites. So one of these is going to be the opposite of the word here. So we actually don't want to plug this in because we want to think of what the opposite is and we don't want it to make sense. So which one of these is the other meaning, not the same meaning for correct? Step 4, our after reading poll. Do we agree or disagree? If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. So after reading, did your opinion change? our thought question. So for our thought question, we're going to describe Katherine Johnson's work at NASA. How did she help lead the way for women and African Americans to succeed in math and technical fields? Use facts and details from the lesson in your answer. I gave you a sentence frame to start. Katherine Johnson helped lead the way for women and African Americans by, and use details from the story. So the next section is a writing section. You're going to read an article and then you're going to respond to the writing prompt. So while this activity can be completed over the course of 2 weeks, consider spending one day to read the article and plan, and another day to write your essay. That's a good idea. So here is our article. It's called New Policy Says No Homework Equals No Recess. Oh, this is a good topic to write about. So, if you don't do your homework, should you go to recess? What do you think? So when you are writing, you want to think about who you're writing to. After reading the passage, New Policy Says No Homework Equals No Recess, should students have to miss recess if their homework is not finished? It's important to share your opinion and support it with reasons. So who are you writing to? Let's pretend that you didn't do your homework and you're trying to convince Miss Hicks or Miss Alexander to let you go to recess anyways. So what would you say to convince them that even though you didn't do your homework, you should still go to recess? So when you're planning, you can use this graphic organizer. So your topic sentence is going to be, we shouldn't go to recess if we didn't do our homework, or we should still get to go to recess if we didn't do our homework. And then your two paragraphs are going to be why. So you might want to talk about how it's healthy to get exercise, or how, even though you didn't do your homework, you don't want to lose time doing it at school and taking away from the focus of other activities. Or how you really learned your lesson and that next time you're going to do it. So you're going to be doing different details and reasons as to why you should go to recess even if you didn't do your homework. And here is your writing paper. You can always go on to the back if you need to write more details about your topic. So that is your last assignment in this packet. I can't wait to read your essays and look at all of your awesome work that you completed. Have a great week.